Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Blokes podcast. Ryan Hassan from the Centre for Healing here, joined as always by the Nick, the Sultan of Steel Miracle of McRae Sutherland. Nico, how are you faring today?
Hello, Ryan, no mates Hassan. Um,
Oh,
I'm faring well, thank you. How are you?
got no mates apparently. Nick, you're not having
I'm
a
sorry, I
full.
just I just heard you were off to
I am. I'm off to the movies by myself after we
a
finish
what?
recording, and I'm going to see the Masters of the
Yeah.
Universe He-Man movie, and I couldn't be more excited.
Why aren't you taking me?
He-Man
Why aren't I
and the
going with you?
Masters of the Universe.
I have
Because,
power,
yeah, I
power,
have the
crazy power.
power. Because I sent you the trailer maybe when the trailer first came out, maybe 2 months ago or something on Instagram, because I got so excited. Was it you? I think it was you. And then you were like,
Yeah,
oh, cool, looks good. Like you weren't, you're like, I don't think you were that into it. That's the vibe I got. So.
dude, Man at Arms, Battle Tiger. I had the whole collection. I had the castle and everything that came with it.
You had the Castle Grayskull.
Yes.
Oh God, what an
I had every
OG.
character. I had it all. Yes, I think it was
Did
my
you
time.
did you
You were
did
just a
you dream
puppy.
of did you dream of marrying She-Ra?
Don't think we quite got to the marriage stage,
Oh.
but I might have dreamt that we had a little courtship.
How old were you when you had Castle Grayskull?
We might have gone on one or two. We might have gone on one or two dates in Grayscale.
Little adventures.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm off to
Adventures,
see that
yes.
today. I'm excited just to share the movie theater with other 40-something-year-old men who are going. I went to book the movie, it shows the seats that are taken and not taken. And then there's just a bunch of singles. I'm like, oh great, it's gonna be me and some other no mates guys going to the movie. So I'm very excited.
But you'll all come out as mates. You'll probably have a cracking afternoon on the cans or something. You'll be like, ah, and you'll be reminiscing about the days of old, and you won't get home till midnight, and yeah, it'll be great.
We'll all go and buy the merchandise, like that vest thing and the sword, and we'll be just at a bar having a drink, just touching swords all day.
You come home with a blonde wig on with
Yeah.
the sawn off fringe that he has.
Oh God, I hope they sell it. I went to the movies last week. I took Tommy to see the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which was great. But they had a lot of like stuff you could buy there. Like there was different toys. You could buy a Mandalorian helmet that doubles as I don't know what,
Mm.
a bowl or something. So maybe they will. Maybe they'll have some
Oh
He-Man
wow.
blonde wigs because I will 100% get one, and you'll be getting a picture if they have them.
You'll come home with the skin full, going to Mel. Oh, darling, into the bedroom. We're going to do a battle
Oh,
cat style tonight. Yeah.
she's like, I don't know what that means. Sounds like something from the Urban Dictionary that might be really nasty.
Probably would be. I don't know what it
Uh,
would be either, but
oh,
yeah,
I'll let you know if it happens
it
and if
would
it does,
baffle
how it
me.
goes.
Please don't. I'm going to my therapist at 11 o'clock. I'm thinking about just late cancellation and going to the movies, but I've got a discovery session and three other clients, so probably can't skip
You're a
that out.
busy one.
No,
So
I
you,
didn't know you
you
were going by yourself. That would have been awesome. And we
yeah,
could have gone.
I just
No, don't
decided
go,
this
and then we'll
morning.
go and watch it and have ramen.
I'm too excited.
Don't
I can't
go.
be
We'll
stopped.
go.
I can't be stopped. I'm
We'll
too
go on
excited.
Saturday. We'll go on Saturday.
I'm away for the weekend.
Stop yourself. You're gay for the weekend. Whatever.
I can't. I'm really looking forward to it. Um, so that's me. Yeah. So
All right.
you be getting
Well,
myotherapy.
enjoy. I'm happy for you. Hang on. I can only give away that which I'm in possession of. I'm going to be happy within myself. I'm going to share that happiness with you. I'm going to extend that happiness towards you. I'm going to be happy that you're happy. I'm going to be happy for you that you get to go and watch He-Man at the movies today. There you go.
That's lovely. Would you like, can I give you after I watch it just a rating without giving away any spoilers? Would that be okay?
I don't want to speak to you or communicate with you at all until I've seen it.
All right. Hope you don't see it for a while.
That's fair. Walked right into that
Uh,
one. Um,
you've been doing myotherapy once a week, Nico, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, because as I just unpacked on the whiteboard with the client, the golden rule, I am responsible for my happiness and health. And the definition of health is a state of complete mental, physical, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So it is upon my shoulders to take care of my mind and my body and my relationships. I'm happy to let my relationship with you fall into the gutter. That they can fall by the wayside. That's okay. Um, and if I'm taking care of all of those, then I would be pretty close to taking care of my spiritual self as well. And it was a nice segue because I was going to touch on that with you today. So,
Do you think
yes, I'm seeing a
that
myotherapist once a week.
do you think that getting in touch with that spiritual self or spiritual side requires having those other, let's call them earthly domains of life in check?
No, I think you have to be connected to those earthly domains. They don't have to be in check. They don't have to be at their optimal best. But I don't. It's like yin and yang. I don't think you can have one without the other. Remember, we had Trevor Hendy on, and he was talking
Yep.
about he used to think he was a human being having a spiritual experience, and he reframed that as we have to, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I talk about the soul's evolution is done through the human experience, the work we do as humans. That um, so seeing yourself as a as an earthly entity, human on that level, but then behind that or underneath it, there is that metaphysical, spiritual self, and both are equally important. So the work I do as a human, I can feed my soul as a human. I can go and play golf and go for a walk through nature, or sit and have a wonderful conversation with someone, or sit and watch a sunrise or a sunset. That's me having a human experience, but that they're not independent. So a lot of people think spirit and soul, spirit and human are independent. They're so in my understanding, they're so deeply interconnected, interdependent. So as I'm sitting there as a human and watching this sunset, as I did last night, it was amazing. I'm having this emotive experience, which is permeating through my humanness, but then down for me, down into my soul. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I think it's engaging with that. Everyone's got a different idea, I guess, of what spirituality means. And some people think religion, some people think new age stuff, or, but it's really at the end of the day, us not knowing what we are, at the core of it, and going on an exploration of trying our best to work out what that might be, and getting in touch with things outside of just this meat suit of a body that we wander around this spinning planet on. And I think that a lot of people who explore that spiritual side, a lot of people that I've worked with, neglect, I think, a lot of our beautiful humanness that we have, and then they end up having some really cool experiences, and going down the rabbit holes, and listening to Alan Watts and all that kind of stuff,
Bit of
and they
ayahuasca and
bit of ayahuasca, a bit of a bit of
bit of
mushrooms,
shroomy
and
shroomy.
bit of all that, and then they end up kind of coming around to this place where they are really struggling with their humanness, and that's when they tend to reach out and need help because they're like, "Hey, I feel like I'm, at one with the universe in certain moments, and I'm just, one drop in the entire ocean, yet." I'm arguing in my relationship every single day. My physical health's fucked. I've got no money. And so they have to come back and try and manage that. And I find that yeah, a lot of people who go on a really healthy path with that, they really take care of this humanness and like what you spoke about being having complete responsibility and ownership for our relationships and our health and all this kind of thing. And then we have this beautiful foundation and grounding within which we can explore what spirituality means to us. And there's no one size fits all. And a lot of religion try and push people into that one size fits all. But I think it's a unique path.
If you neglect one, it's going to compromise or come at the cost of the other, I think. And a lot of people uh, are stuck in their humanness and they don't recognize or register this. No, for me, the soul is just renting this flesh suit for X amount of years.
I hope it got a discount for that one. That one's a bit faulty.
Can't help myself, but that was a
Sure,
good one.
sorry.
This is a
Go
good.
on.
Well
Go
done.
on.
Oh, I liked it. Um, and well, it's funny you say that because it is pretty banged up, but it's meant to be banged up for for this incarnation of my soul. It's meant to be banged up to it's the karma for this. It's all there to do the work on it. I'm really thankful that I didn't fall into the really typical trap. You have these deep spiritual experiences, and then like Ram Dass, and Alan Watts, classic examples. They denied their humanity and just wanted to keep getting high, wanted to keep escaping this humanness, and just keep having this suspended spiritual experience. I've had a lot of clients. One in particular stands out. Shout out to you know who you are when you hear this. He turned up with an existential crisis. He was like trying to drink deeply from the well, as he puts it, and was expecting this enlightenment and everything. And I'm like, yeah, but what about your humanness? He's like, no, I don't want that. And I'm like, well, now you're in trouble. So again, we've spoken about before. People that are all in one camp or all in the other, and neglecting the bits that are really important and are actually going to help and benefit them. So for me, I've got a foot in both camps.
Mm,
And I really, I said to a client the other day, because I said, well, what do you mean? How do you do that? I said, well, it's done with consciousness. So I position myself as that eye behind the eye a lot. I'm just aware of Nick a lot of the time and just sitting in that space um, and that conscious awareness. But then I'll catch up with Ryan and I'll step straight into my humanness and let my ego take over and we'll have banter and hang shit at each other. If I go to the footy, I'm not just going to sit there and go, I'm just at one with it. I'm going to fucking umpire and give us a
yeah,
hot dog
yeah,
and a
yeah.
beer. And, you want that. That's the juicy stuff. And that's the stuff that people again, and it's such a contradiction. It's such a paradox because they're wanting to have this spiritual experience, but they have a aversion to their humanness. So they're living in an attachment, which is just going to cause suffering. I don't want to be human. I can't have a beer. I can't let my hair down. I can't yell at an umpire. I can't call my mate a fucking retard. I can't do any of that stuff. You can, and you need to. That's all important.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I had my, spiritual experience and everything. And for a while after that, because I was so into my sport my whole life, I went through this phase where I had a really weird relationship where I'd be watching a football game going, what's the point of this? Like I'm watching people of different colored jumpers chase around a ball, and then I'm like, this is so silly, there's no point. And then I came around to the fact that I'm like, no, no, getting invested in that is heaps of fun. It's part of being human, like you said, of like going for this one team and not allowing it to, ruin my week like some people do who are really into it, but just investing ourselves for those 2 hours into that full humanness and giving our friends crap, yelling at the TV or the game, and then stepping back out of it. And that's beautiful. There was a saying ages ago, like, I don't know where I heard it, but it's like the gods envy us because we can drink coffee and have sex. It's like we can be this, enlightened, ethereal being, but we don't get to enjoy this playground of humanness that we have. And you spoke about going down that rabbit hole, and I remember I might have brought this up on the show before, but I went and did an ayahuasca ceremony just because people had told me about it. And I'm like, I'll try it anything once because I was interested in its effects for addiction treatment. And I went along, it's the only time I ever did it. I went along to this ceremony and you sort of share at the start, you get in a circle and I'm like, yeah, I'm Ryan. It's my first time doing this and this is why I'm here and blah, blah, blah. And this one fella got up there and he's like, oh, this is my 18th time drinking. And he goes, oh, it's just good to be back because this is the only place that I feel okay and whatnot. And I remember going, oh, that's interesting. And I got a quiet moment with him much later on. And I was like, oh, don't take this the wrong way, but are you learning anything here? Because, like, if you keep having to come back to feel home, I think we'd have these experiences or do this work so it makes us better and more engaged and more present in our actual, the humanness, the life. But it can become
Yeah,
an
I don't
escape.
think you. I don't think you want to. I don't think you want ayahuasca to become a coping mechanism. That's
Yeah.
not going to have much fluid left in the body.
Well, it's yeah, tough.
I tried mushrooms. Just to uh, get a feel for what it was all about. And all I really experienced, in all honesty, was just a an elevated sense of awareness, like that eye behind the eye. I just felt a little bit further back, and could I didn't have any amazing epiphanies or breakthroughs or aha moments or anything. I just felt a deeper level of awareness, I think.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting. I remember doing the ayahuasca and I had researched it a bit and we had a cup and I didn't really feel anything. And then they're like, oh, if you feel like having a second cup, and I'm like, oh, a second cup, I don't feel shit. We can't have more. And then I'm like, oh, it must be because everyone's all dark. You're in the same room, but it's dark and everyone's just sort of meditating or going through a process. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just a weak brew. You can get, it's like you make a weak tea or a weak coffee, it must be a weak brew. And then next minute I can just hear everyone else just puking their guts up and someone yelling, someone bawling their eyes out, and it's all happening. And I'm just sitting there going, oh, yeah, right. They're like, this will be the
I got
third and last cup. If anyone, I know you don't probably don't need it, but come up. And I'm up there. I'm like, yeah, come on, give us this third cup.
you were getting served from the placebo bowl.
Yeah, yeah. There's just a bit of muddy water that he had behind him. He goes, oh, here's yours, sir.
Well,
Uh,
we'll see what comes up for you in
Well,
this.
well, the thing for
Uh,
me is then I then had this third cup. I did have maybe let's say a 20-minute period where I felt a bit altered state of consciousness that I could see some, the geometrical patterns. It was definitely having an effect, and then that went away. And I went into it going, oh, I'm ready for the deepest, darkest corners of the universe to come at me. And then it was funny because the next morning you have something to eat and you clean up and whatnot. And then we left. And I remember getting very frustrated. It was quite 2.5 hour drive home. And I was really frustrated that I didn't have an experience. And then I remember halfway home, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is my lesson. My need
mm,
to have this grand thing happen all the
I
time.
have an
Because I've left,
attachment to a desired outcome.
yeah, because I've lived a very kind of extreme life, and so I have these extreme experiences of positive and negative, and I'm like, oh, this is the part of me that really desires that another peak experience that I can fucking share and feel amazing about. So that was my part, just to have a very, kind of neutral or nothing experience.
Maybe we should do an episode on mushrooms. It'd be fun.
It'd be a long
Just,
one.
just would it?
Yeah, well, they'll last a
Might.
few hours. We could just do like maybe once we start feeling the effects, we'll just no, it would be
Yeah,
funny actually to start and then the effects kind of
kick
kick in.
in.
We need a watcher. We'll get someone along just to. you
All
know.
right.
The
Um,
shaman will be
Interesting.
dancing
You're
around in the
talking about.
background.
I'm. I might have to take this out of my office. I'll just be sitting there like, "Ooh."
For those who are only listening, Nick's got the Alex Gray amazing piece of art. One of the first times that I took acid was at Rainbow Serpent Festival, which was a bush doof back in the day, and I took way too much. And there was an Alex Gray art exhibition as part of the festival, and me and my friend were in there. It was like I felt like I was getting swallowed by the painting. I'm like, I love this, but we got to get the fuck out of here because I'm going to end up in a different dimension. It's already psychedelic without having anything.
Yeah. Um, when you were talking about you've lived a life of extremes, I was sitting there with the word balance in my mind. So it was a really interesting experience because, when you speak of um, the gods are jealous of those that can just drink and have sex and do whatever, but then those that are drinking and having sex and everything are sometimes doing so to try and reach what the gods have got. And there's this, we don't want to be a god or a, don't want to use the word deviance, but when you get back to that, just that real base sort of nature. And for me, it's there is a space in between all that where you can experience and sample and acquire and connect and do these things, but you don't need them. You're not doing them because you need them. You're doing them because they're available and you have a choice to do them or not do them. You're not doing them to get to another place. If you're doing things from that sense of deficiency, I want to take this so I can get to there. For me, that's when it becomes problematic. And um, yeah, I don't meditate or do this work to become an enlightened being. I do it because in my head, in my belief system, in my understanding, when I do these things, it's benefiting Nick on that earthly level, and it's benefiting whatever's underneath that. Well, let's label it as a soul or whatever. It's so that's me, that golden rule. It's me taking care of myself on those different levels, and um, yeah, I'll ebb and flow in it. I'll meditate more, and I'll neglect my physical, and then I'll start doing more physical stuff, and I might neglect the meditation a bit. I don't have this constant fixed regime or routine or anything. I like the ebbing and the flowing. I like going where I feel I need to go. It's like sometimes at Pilates, she'll say, "What do you want to do today?" I say, "I just want to let my body go." And she's like, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, I just want to get on the reformer and get the straps and maybe my arms want to do this and maybe my legs. I just want to let my body do what it feels it needs to do instead of trying to fit into a model of what we think I should be doing."
Hmm.
And she's just like looking at me going, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Just let me
And I'm
lay on the
like, just
floor and flop around a bit.
yes, just let me be. And because I think a lot of people, again, and Ram Dass talks about this, like they get trapped in their models and they meditate because they think they have to meditate or they should be meditating, or if I don't meditate, that means something, or I've got to be seen as a meditator, or and it's just meditate when you feel like meditating, move when you feel like moving. Yes, I mean I go for a walk every day. That's a couple of walks a day. That's a pattern. That's I'm not just moving when I want to move. I'm moving because it's beneficial. But then I do go and allocate time to move just to, you know, if I've got a structured gym thing, like I imagine you do, um, that wouldn't work for me because I'd felt too confined in that. I'm doing this just because I have to do it. And I'm like, but what if my body doesn't feel like doing that today?
Yeah,
Do
there's
you ever have that
also
or?
yeah. So I'm once again. I think we all have a different nature in the way we approach things. I do better with structure, but also that can be a trap. And especially if we're talking about, I think, not just physical, but also mental and emotional, it's like introducing different stimulus, I think, is always a good thing. It's like if you go and are doing the same thing over and over again, I don't know what you're, something very immature has just popped into your head here. Go on. Says me wearing a fucking Goku shirt. But anyway, well, what's popped into your head?
You don't want to know. Just
Okay.
introducing different stimulus, and I just imagine you getting one of those little lighters at the zap and just putting it on your knob. Just, just different stimulus.
Well, I've said some stupid shit on this podcast over the years. I
I'm
won't be able to
trying to
get
catch up.
I won't be able to get that out of my head. I'll end up buying a fucking lighter today. Um,
So
um,
an electric shock.
and so we if we get stuck in the same patterns over and over again, then our growth will stall. So we have to. So
Yes.
let's say the gym. I go and I lift weights, but if I just lift the same weights in the same amounts every week, I might, you know, get my heart rate up and it'll feel good, but it will stall results because my body is used to that and adapts.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, even, it's great if someone meditates every day, but like, do a completely different type of meditation one day if you feel like it. Do one while you're walking, or try one where you're chanting, or that kind of thing. And I think I've been having this chat with a client recently, actually, who's overcome so much in terms of their past, and so they've gone from this place of just like really struggling with everything in their life to having all this stability at the minute, which is amazing.
Mhm.
And now the next step of her journey is she has a child who's a toddler, and working and single mum and all this. And it's like working out who she is now outside of her current roles of mum and worker, but also her past identifications with party life and chaos and all that type of thing. And I've been talking to her about introducing new stimulus, not the type you're talking about, but introducing some new inputs so that we can
Nipple
start to
clamps.
not just start to work out. I'll suggest that in the next session. Um, to start to work out, like, who she is. And now by doing that, and I'm like, you might try something new over here. You might go to a salsa dancing class or a riding class, or you're going to do this, and it might be shit. I'm like, that's good because it's still different stimulus. And now you can have a funny story to tell about how terrible this dancing class was. But eventually you'll find things that start to spark enthusiasm and inspiration, and you'll start to work out now who you are apart from those sort of identified roles at the minute.
Yeah, and when you offer for people to explore and experiment, there's no right or wrong. There's no should or shouldn't. It's like, oh, I'm going to try salsa dance. Yeah, that didn't resonate. Cool. Well, now you know that that's not for you. It hasn't been a waste of time because you've realized that that's not what you want to do. So keep moving, go to the next thing, and keep trying and see what does fit. But don't don't form an identity around it. I am now a salsa dancer. It's like I like to salsa dance, and I think that's the problem where people get really trapped and stuck. And a lot of people are trying to figure out who they are. And I talk to them about, okay, well, who am I is that ego and identity and that humanness, but the what am I is that observer of all of that. So don't forget to step in and observe. And when I just this came up in my last session, when you stop trying to be, you just start being. And a lot
Yeah.
of people are up in their heads trying to figure things out. They're having this very analytical and intellectual process that, oh right, well I have to be this, and maybe I'm that. And there's a lot of neuroses around it. Where if if you stop trying to be, that's surrendering, that's stopping trying allows you to just start being. And I think that's um, this chapter of my life. It's really about living that meditative life and just being here now, being as present as much as possible, being conscious of what's coming up for me, and oh, I feel like it's now time to really dedicate to my physical health because I've spent a lot of time over the years on my mental health and my spiritual health, and now I've got to tend to this thing that hopefully the soul got a discount for because it's pretty banged up. And the next thing from that is I've got to attend to my social health. I'm very happy by myself. It's comfortable for me to just do my own thing. I don't really need to interact with many people, but I've got a lot of wonderful people in my life, so I've got to start, fueling and feeding those connections too.
Yeah. I think so like you spoke about, and I think it's I wonder if it's still identifying. I think it probably is in some way. But let's say there's the eye behind the eye. There's our awareness, there's the just a consciousness, back here, I don't know where, but
The
somewhere.
witness.
The witness, it's watching, like you said, yours is watching Nick. And that just the same as it's watching me or other people or the bird outside or that kind of thing. And I think if we're grounded there or somewhere similar to there, then the identifications of what we do in our life get us into less trouble. Because if I don't have that, if I'm Ryan, I'm a human. Look, here I am. I do this, I do that. And let's say I'm a golfer, and that's my identification. We both love golf very deeply. But if I'm fully identified that I'm a golfer, then my happiness and peace is dictated by how I perform at golf. So if I have a bad
Mhm.
round, then there's something wrong with me, and I take that home, and it stays with me until I
So you
have.
do identify as a golfer then?
No, I'm passionate on the course, but I step off and I'm fine. Um, and so but then when we have the grounding behind that awareness, then all of a sudden I can go do the golf and I can play bad, but it's like I'm back here. I'm identified back here. This is something that I do when I try my best, but it's not. There's more to me than this activity.
More than meets the eye.
Would you say it's still an identification? Like, do you identify with that witness, or is it more a
No,
recognition of that's the deeper part of who you are?
no, it's just an experience. Again, it's not an intellectual, it's not a head-based thing. I'm not it's I don't I'll go if I go for a walk through nature and I'm just it's like a meditation. I'm just observing. Wow, that's fascinating. Look at that. I'm not identifying as a walker. I'm just having an experience. So um, the beauty of it for me is that when I position myself as the witness, Nick can ebb and flow. Nick can move there, or he can move there, he can get a little bit upset, or he can be totally at peace. And I'm in a position to step in and make some corrections if it's necessary. If Nick's nature is coming out of balance or bringing him out of balance, if he's being too caring or too considerate or too inquisitive or too if he's going excessively hyper or hypo, then as the witness, I'm in a position to
To
step in and
recognize
go, all
that.
right, buddy, yeah, and go, all right, let's just pull back from that a bit, or let's just lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think recognizing it's the first step, isn't it? Because if we don't have that seat of awareness, then it's very hard to know if we're getting out of balance in one way or the other. And sometimes that takes somebody else telling us, but then we have to have enough uh, respect and understanding for that person to even self-reflect and go, "Oh, am I?" Outside. Normally we just get
Mm.
defensive, so it can be quite difficult if we haven't experienced that eye behind the eye.
And that's that we're talking Mindfit about. Oh, awareness is the first step to change. So we could say that's recognition. It's the first part of emotional intelligence. That's self-awareness. But again, it's not a critical or judgmental self-awareness. It's a gentle awareness. It's just a noticing. You're not creating a narrative or a story around it either. And then from that position, then you can. do the self-management, and then you can intervene. Um,
Because oftentimes, sorry to jump in, but oftentimes there's a judgment, isn't there? It's like we can
oh,
have that awareness step, and it's let's say it's like, oh, I'm being
oh
um,
no, I did that again.
far too
Oh, I'm
caring.
still
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
this.
Oh, I'm being
I
far too
shouldn't be
caring.
doing that.
Yeah, you idiot. You always do that. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
You never get that
yeah.
right.
So all of that is unnecessary suffering. It's just the reality is man is doing this. And learning to meet that with an acceptance instead of an aversion to it. And I was going to say, and that's why I think therapy or going to talk to someone outside of yourself, it could be with a trusted. I love that you pointed that out before. You've got to really respect and trust other people to take their opinions on. So whether it's coming to see it, I think it's probably a time and a place for everything. You're going to see a professional who's tuned in and knows what to look for, but also going to see someone, to talk to a friend or a family member who knows you well as well, and maybe because we're in it, we can't see the forest for the trees. I'm talking about being the witness, and I worked very I'm, I've worked hard. No, I've really dedicated myself to cultivating this ability to be the witness, and I think it's probably more advanced than most people I know because of that dedication to it. But I'll never be completely objective to myself. I'll never be able to see myself, from a completely different position like you could, or not that I trust or respect you, so I wouldn't listen to you, but someone I do. It's that. Um, so getting someone to reflect what they're seeing, and standing in front of a mirror like another person's reflection is really important.
Just because I'm going to go buy a zapper and electrocute the end of my knob today doesn't mean that my opinion's less valid than someone else.
While you're in the movie theater.
Tick, 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 tick. Someone turn that off.
Tick tick. Ah! Ah! What?
Um,
That's this. Oh, wow. I know where that came from. I said that before. I said that subconsciously, and I've just connected back to a childhood memory. The
where the fuck is this going?
the clickers on the stove.
Yes, what to spark the
Yeah,
burner?
to get the
Yeah.
gas burners. Someone bought one to school, and it'd go around and just get you on the back of the neck or
Oh,
get you on
yeah.
the
They're
back of
called
the
a
legs.
piezo igniter or whatever they're called. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, but I think I've got a faint memory of someone reporting because he got him in the nuts or
Just
something, saying,
zapping
"Wow,
people.
that's 35 years, 30 years later. That's just come out in a conversation.
How funny.
It's hilarious.
What a
Wow.
little savage just getting around school, giving people little zaps on the back of the neck with the
Yeah,
piezo.
he was quite unhealed. Let's just say.
Um,
Yeah.
so back on back on topic. Um, yeah, for those who aren't going to reach out to like a professional and whatnot as yet for therapy, it's important because there are people in our life that we respect enough that, we can ask their opinion on something. And it's important to tell them that. Like I'll tell someone, I'm like, hey, I really respect your opinion on this kind of stuff. Can I run something by you and get your feedback on it? Because that
I've
then
never heard
makes
that from you.
that way, I haven't asked you, oh bloody piezo balls over here. And so, what's up, Sky? Am I on your tail? Sorry, I'm
While
just
you're dealing with that, my sister's that for me. And you've got to know who your people are. You've got to know who your resources are. I wouldn't go to some people in my life for a D&M and to get that reflection because they're the people I go to talk to about sport or music or have a drink with or whatever. So knowing who your people are and knowing who your resources are. So
and
yeah,
telling them. That's the point of
yeah.
because it's like if someone comes to me and says, I really respect your opinion, then I automatically go, let me be a really good, let me be a really good objective voice and ear to this person now. I kind of adopt that role even more than I may have before, just because they've told me that.
But you gotta know what your strengths and weaknesses are too, or what your nature is. Because I've had people come to me going, "Oh, Nick, can I really get your opinion on this?" And I say, more than happy to. As a friend, you know what I do for a living, so that professional self can sometimes, you know, flow into my personal. So I'm going to try and listen to you as a friend, but I understand I also do have a that sitting behind it all. Um, and regardless of if I was trained or not, I don't do sympathy. So if you're looking just for someone to woe is me you and to have a pity party, I'm not that person in your life. So if you come to me and say, Nick, I'm struggling with this, I'm going to hold space and I'm just going to listen and I'm going to let you get it out of your system. But as soon as you start ruminating or complaining or having a pity party, that's where I'm going to go, right, enough's enough. Let's go. What do you want to do about this? I'm going to be more, what are you going to do with this instead of, oh no, poor you. So knowing how I operate is really important as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'll sometimes say to friends if they ask advice on something, I'm like, you want the friend advice or the practitioner advice?
Mhm.
And they'll go choose. It's a little selection from the menu. They'll be like, yeah, not the practitioner one today. Can I get the friend one? Sure, mate. Let's go.
Yeah. But we do that with our partners. I think we spoke about in the last podcast. Do you want me to be the helper or the hero? Do you want me to help you to find a solution or to do anything with this, or do you just getting this out of your system?
Do you just need a hug?
And yeah,
Yeah.
all right, do you need a little zap on the balls?
Do you need a, well, the more we talk
That'll
about
keep
it, the
that.
more I kind of want it.
That is such your
Have you,
nature.
have you still got the details of that kid from primary school?
No, but I've got another one. I can go and pull it apart for you.
Oh, you might need that. I'm sure we can work it out.
Oh,
I'll
Jesus.
sometimes do that. You said like that's just like you. I'll sometimes do that. I'll walk past someone like old guy sitting in the streets like sucking on a vape, and like I'll have one thought that'll go, "Oh God, poor bastard, that's such a terrible habit." And then the next minute I'll be like, maybe I should start vaping for a bit. Maybe I should take it up. And then the third voice comes in and goes, "All right, just relax, mate. Just relax."
And I love it when Ram Dass talks about you go for a walk through nature. None of those voices exist. You're not sitting there going, "Oh, stupid tree! Oh, what a weird angle of that branch! Oh no! Oh, maybe I should grow some leaves on me." That's none. None of that comes up for us. But then go for a walk down the street.
Maybe I should grow some leaves on me. Ooh, okay.
You go for a walk down the street, and then and again, I don't know, but my current level of understanding is that trees don't have egos, and as a rule of thumb, that ego activates ego. So we're walking through the trees, and there's nothing to activate our egos to start judging or questioning or querying or anything. It's just quite a peaceful experience. But then other humans, lots of egos, are like, oh, vapor. Oh, what are you doing? Maybe I should. Oh, what are you wearing? Oh,
Uh,
wow, that's weird hair. And it's just, oh, again, for me, the key in doing my work is to learn to walk down the street without going, oh, vapor, poor bastard. It's just, I'm really working on having less opinions.
yeah, yeah. My work is I just try and maintain that seat where I'm watching the thoughts happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm not at a point where I can they're gonna stop. I have an opinion. I have an opinion about every 7 milliseconds. I just have to watch them.
My beautiful partner did the most amazing thing for me the other night. I was talking about something. I went, there's a lot happening on her side of life at the moment. Mine's always pretty boring. Hers is there's always something happening and rather exciting. So it creates a bit of an imbalance. So to create a bit more balance, I typed into Chat GPT me. I said, "Hey, this is me, just for a fun experiment." And I'm like, "I like this is what I do. This is my interest. This is my hobbies. Da, 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 da. What do you think?" And its response was really interesting. Anyway, so I started sharing that with them to introduce a bit more Nick. That's as dramatic as my day gets, pretty much. Um, and she suddenly turned into this opinionated person, and she's like, "Oh, you've got a really unhealthy relationship with ChatGPT and da 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 blah blah," and just turned it into this really weird thing. Really took away from what I was trying to do, and and I was like, what's happening right now? What's going on? And in the past, she hasn't been able to regain that seat of power and start to be in the driver's seat again. And she really did it the other day, the other night, and um, she said, "Well, what do I do in that instance?" Because I unpacked it a little bit and said, "This is what just happened then." And she goes, "What do I do?" And I said, "Well, instead of giving me your opinion, maybe ask a question. Like lead with curious. Hey, why did you do that with ChatGPT? So I try and deepen your understanding because as soon as you form an opinion, your mind has closed, and this is now your reality that you're living in. This is the narrative that you're carrying around and subscribing to. And that's so far removed from my reality. So when you impose your reality on my reality, it's like oil and water. It doesn't mix, and there's going to be conflict." And she's like, "Ah." And we had this really interesting discussion about not having, well, you can still have your opinions. So opinions are still important. It's, we wouldn't have much of a conversation. I'm speaking about my opinion right now, but
Mm.
imposing our opinions onto others is where it becomes problematic.
Yeah, I like that. Lead with curiosity, then that opens things up because as soon as we don't, then we're closed off to any more information, and all we want to do is just throw that opinion and say this is the way things are. Then the other
And
person
we
normally
try
says,
and get
"No,
other
this is
people
the
to,
way things are."
yeah, and you want other people to believe it and subscribe to it because it's yours. And you don't like come into contact with things that are different to your opinion. So again, that's where the conflict arises.
Wonderful mental and emotional rep from him there. That's because it's hard.
Mate, it was
The higher the emotions, the harder it is to pull ourselves out of the river.
absolutely. And she again, I've dedicated myself over the years to trying to cultivate this ability just to be the witness, and that was something that she said she wanted to do more of, and she succeeded magnificently in that moment. I was having a very interesting experience. I was like, "Oh, I really want to celebrate and I really want to jump up and down and I really want to," but I just had to play cool. I was like, "Honey, that was so well done." So what I was saying was completely different to what I was experiencing because I was just, if I had turned the tap on, it would have
Yeah,
turned her off, I think.
yeah, for sure. The Sutherlands. I
You
used to do
can't
that
point it out
sometime. I
too
used to do
much.
that sometimes, and Mel's like, "Don't make a big deal about it. Stop it." So we're like, "Okay, okay, keep it cool. I'm keeping it cool. Keeping it cool."
Yeah. So I was really again, I was really conscious and mindful in that moment of just a little bit of positive reinforcement, a little bit of, "Oh, that was awesome." That was, I think I even used the word attractive. I said, "Oh, that was so
That
attractive."
was hot, babe.
Um, got the clicker, got the clicker out.
I'm just
Um,
going to play with the oven for a sec. I'll be back in a minute.
put your earplugs in.
Uh, take Tommy to the other room.
Yeah, so that was wonderful. That was yeah, that was really interesting to see. Because I'm obviously doing the work with clients every day, but I don't get to see them putting it into practice in between
Mm,
sessions. So to see Em doing that real mental rep, and I said it was really impressive um, to watch you in the moment get back in the driver's seat and let go of what you thought. And when I shared my experience with her, because she said, "Oh, are you over it yet?" And I said, it's not about being over it or letting it go. It's about, you know, I was going in this direction and it feels like I just drove over a landmine. And we're having very different experiences. I said, "I'm still spinning. You're sitting there unaffected, going, are you over it yet?" And again, to her credit, she just went, "Okay, yeah, no, understand how you'd be feeling that way. And I'm like, wow, that was exceptional. Like that was,
Yeah.
that was her holding space for me. That was her listening with the intent to understand. That was her validating my experience instead of staying in her position, and in her experience. And I was just like, that was, that was magical. So,
Amazing.
but I've got to do my work and not fall into the trap of expecting her to do that every time. I don't want to
Mm.
form an attachment to a desired outcome. That was a a little bit of growth, on her side, and some development there. But I'm not going to fall into this trap of wanting her to do that all the time.
Yeah, that's back to the expectation thing. That's like when we, go to a restaurant and have this amazing experience, and then we tell all our friends about it and say, "You got to come. It's just the fucking best. You're gonna have the best night." And then we go back for the second time with our friends, and the music's a bit different. Maybe that
There's a
chef's
different
off that
chef or a different
night,
waiter.
and then you go, "It was so much better last time," and they're all disappointed about it.
That's the law of nature. Everything is impermanent, and a philosophy we use with that is that a man cannot stand in the same river twice because he's not the same man and it's not the
It's not
same
the
river.
same river. Yeah.
So it's not the same restaurant. It's not the same chef. It's not the same waiter. It's not the same music. It's so when we go and tell people, "Oh, you're going to have the best," you're like, "No, don't set them up to fail. Just say I had a wonderful experience and speak of your experience. And if they're curious enough, they might go, oh, I might go and check it out. And but you're going to taint their experience by saying
Yeah.
how good your experience was."
Also, it's like where they, if their friend does have a great experience there, then we're like, that was me that did that. I was responsible for them having a great experience. I am
I
the
made them
creator
happy.
of goodness.
Ah, what a fascinating ego. Look how powerful I am.
Yeah, I love
Look
it.
what I just did.
All right, Nico.
Oh, well, you got to go. You got to get to the cinema.
I have the power. I can't wait. I'm getting my hopes up a little bit too much, actually. I'm just gonna get a big thing of popcorn too, Pepsi Max. I'm gonna fucking let myself really go and take my shoes off. It's one of the recliners where the seats move with the movie called the D box.
Wow, is that a Kringle or
Frankston.
Braxton? I lied to you earlier. I tried. I'm not that evolved. I'm not happy for you. I am happy for you, but there's part of me that's really not happy for you.
Uh,
You've given me some
that
work to do.
that
Thank you.
doesn't affect my experience at all. I'm actually
No,
gonna
but if
have
you
an
come
extra
back,
good time just to make you have to do more work.
if you come back and say it was the best, you're going to go and see it. It's going to taint my
Nick,
experience.
you
So,
have to go and see it. It's gonna be the best movie you've ever seen in your life.
what is this D box experience? I've never heard of it. I'm going to
Yeah,
check it out.
I only found it when I took Tommy to see Mandalorian. It's a small cinema, like maybe 20, no, probably less than that seats, and they're recliners, but they'll like move, they'll kind of shake in a fight scene, or they'll move a bit slowly if you're like
Wow.
on a ship. It was really cool. For Mandalorian, it was great because it was pretty like action movie.
Because I always used to think we're only using two of our senses when we go and watch a movie, sight and sound. And I always thought, why don't they have little things where they can release smells or
Mm.
something, or how can so to move the chair around? That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they have like at Legoland at Chadston where I've been, they have a 4D cinema and they're like these little 10-minute Lego movies, but they're 3D with the 3D glasses and like when there's a water bit, like you get sprayed with water and there's
Oh
like
wow.
smokes comes out when you're in the clouds. It's okay, but you could see where it could go in future. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Is it the Iranian government Lego movies, or
No, no, I've
have you
seen
seen?
those, but no, they weren't showing that on the particular day we went.
They were showing Trump and Pam Bondi
Yeah. No, I
in,
didn't see that one.
in compromised positions. Oh,
Yeah.
they're fantastic. What a world we live in.
That's a circus.
Fascinating. Anyway, we won't get into that.
But
All right, well, have fun. I'll think of you while I'm getting needles stuck in me.
No worries. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you all the next episode.
Oh
Bye
yeah, we're
bye.
doing a podcast. Cheers, everyone. Bye.